Welcome back, everyone. My name is Michael Chapman. So everyone's aware, I broke into the electronics field, the computer field, with the Commodore 64. So hopefully my inexperience, my lack of knowledge will help bring out some information to help you guys if you also don't understand. If I could have the wonderful panel start, Tomas, if you would start introducing yourself. Little background, and we'll get started.
Yeah, thank you. So my name is Thomas Köbel from the company RefTech. I will have a presentation later on today and showing you what you can do today with the combination of optical detection and AI. So we use this for the real-time monitoring of table games. So I have to say, I mean, I'm personally not an expert in AI. I'm not a programmer. I mean, I'm a user. But anyway, even as a user, I of course have my own opinion. And well, I mean, I will tell you this later on. Thanks.
Thank you, Thomas. My name is Mridula, and I've been working in artificial intelligence for 6 years, dedicated, and from last 23 years, I've been working in telecommunication and different kinds of technology. Have worked in 8 countries full time, and tech is what I do.
Hi, my name is Kiran Brahmandam. So I've been in the industry almost 20 years now. So I've come from the vendor side, built many of the latest systems products, in my previous life. Now I'm the founder and CEO of Gaming Analytics, which is the whole mission is to bring AI into gaming. And then my experience, prior to gaming also has been in the telecom space. It's actually pretty interesting. I was one of the 400 engineers who actually implemented streaming video technologies, right? When you take Zoom and all your teams for granted, was actually the programmer that built that. Of course, there's 399 others, right? So the first ever video call that happened in the world from a 2G phone to a desktop, I was part of the team that built it. And then now, by luck, ended up in, by chance, right? Ended up in gaming. And I've been here for a long time.
My name is Sanjiv. I'm in tech since 1993. Designed the first vehicle location system of Asia, which today we call Google Maps. We did that, but we were too early, and the company failed. But learn a lot. I'm in the network space for a pretty long time. But let me give you a fun fact about me. So wherever I go, I do push-ups.
All right. You can do a few extra for me, because obviously I do not. Let's jump right into it. We'll start with you, Sanjay. What area of gaming does AI present the greatest opportunity for improvement on our current practices? Is it analysis, game protection, marketing, customer service, or all of them?
Well, it definitely have impact on every single thing we do in gaming today. So it's, and the big thing I wanted to stress is it's not just one aspect of gaming. Gaming is very tightly integrated. So player development and security, I don't think these are two different things, because it's really about understanding the player behavior and seeing how the players are moving, what they like, what they don't like. So it's tightly integrated.
Did you want to add?
Yeah, I think that analytics is like an engine. It feeds from everything, analyzes, and feeds into everything else. So I would say that analysis is like, let's compare that to a human body. So it's like the skeleton. It goes everywhere. That's what I think analysis is. But I agree with Sanjay. Everything is so integrated. In my opinion, I think the quickest beneficiaries would be marketing communication and marketing. And game protection may take some more time, because there's a lot more complex analytics that is involved in there. But maybe Thomas's company can help.
Thank you. But in general, I see it quite different. If we talk about the data analytics, for me, these AI methods typically in the analytical area. That's it. I mean, it's not new. I mean, we knew other similar methods like chemometrics in other areas. I mean, it's just simply that you need data with a certain frequency, with the smallest deviation, and have an iteration and to get a proper result, simply spoken, okay? So this is working with dead data, so to speak. What we do the same, but with real-time data. That's fine, but we do analytics. If you use the same methods for human beings, like we heard, then, well, I'm a bit scared.
Okay,
If I could add a couple of things.
absolutely.
Yeah. I think one of the things for you guys to consider, right? Of course, AI will pretty much help. Every department, it has the potential. It actually does too. But you as an operator has to think about where do inefficiencies lie in your organization, right? In some casinos, people are good with slots. Some casinos, you got excellent marketing teams. Some casinos, you do a phenomenal job with tables, right? So there are multiple departments that you have in a casino, and you as as leaders in your organization needs to figure out where does the biggest opportunity lie, not just on the slot floor, right? Hotels, audit, compliance, accounting. And then you start thinking about how do I solve those business problems, and then you will find an AI solution that actually does that. There's a few solutions out there, but the onus is on you to kind of think a little bit about what are my current challenges. Right? So.
Okay. My next question is, how can AI provide a medium to break down the barriers between the individual siloed departments that unfortunately is common in gaming today? Who would like to start that one?
I could.
Sure.
Because we actually have a recent case study about how some of our products have been able to solve silos, right? Break down these silos. So there's few things here, right? There are organizational silos, right? There are technological silos, right? And there's obviously a problem of mindset, right? As to how do we bring these things together. So what do I mean by organizational silos? The way you structure your company, right? You got slots, you got marketing, you got PD, you got audit, you got compliance. And then what did the vendors do? They actually built products for each of your lines, right? Creating the silos. And now there is a big race to say, well, how do I break down these silos? So no, you guys initially wanted, I only care about slots. Just give me a slot product. Somebody built a slot product. I only cared about marketing. Somebody built a marketing product for you. But now, casinos are saying, I want to understand the whole view of my business, right? And that's where, companies are coming and putting the data together in one spot. But the way you break down silos, like you have to figure out from an organizational standpoint of view, but from a product perspective, is how do you make sure that the data that's across these different silos is easily available to users across the board, right? So when a slot person is looking at the data, can I make it easy for them to actually know who plays the games, right? When a marketing person is actually looking at the data and trying to send an offer, do they really understand what games do the players play, right? Technology today actually solves that, and we've got multiple case studies about how we're able to connect the dots because we're presenting the data in one unified view, right? So the easiest thing to break down the silos is the technology part, regardless of the challenges that it has, right? But can you go and try to break down the organizational silos is the challenge. Technology will definitely help, and there are case studies. You can check out our site or any of these companies' sites, and we have done that. But the idea is to put the data in one spot, presenting it in one view, so people inherently actually know what happens in the other departments.
Did you have
Yeah, thank
anything?
you. Great answer. I just want to expand on this. So the way I see this is that there is definitely a centralized data platform where all the data is stored. But the next question is, again, there's a lot of data. What do we do with it? So I think artificial intelligence can definitely automate the processing and the analysis of this data. So we just don't want to have data. We also want it to be analyzed, because it's just a lot of data otherwise. What are we going to do with it? The next step would be, now we have the data, so we have to make decisions, right? Because the same player could be in 4 different lists, so how do we know that the casino host has given something and we are not over-investing in players or under-investing in players and so on? So AI can help with all those kind of decisions as well, which are about over and under investment of players. Now, from the organization point of view, when all the data is in one CDP, is one centralized data platform, AI can then also take it to the next level and start assigning tasks It can definitely automate the communication process between different departments so that you get automatic notifications on what's happening, what's not happening with somebody else. But it can also start assigning tasks. So which is like, let's say if we want the casino host to go and give a special offer to our best poker player right now who's losing money. So now we can see that data. AI can analyze the data, come up with the offer, and then communicate that offer after 2 different approvals to the casino host. So the casino host can go in real time and give the offer to the poker player. And after that, AI can also analyze the data to see if the poker player availed that offer. But it also applies to the organization. It's not, I just give an example of poker, but from the organization point of view, any kinds of task can be automatically assigned to anybody. And then AI can kind of act like a project management assistant where it can track the progress also automatically. So I think that's one of the ways artificial intelligence can help break different kinds of silos, which is both organizational and human silos.
Sanjay, did you have anything to add?
I'm going to tell you a story, which I love, right? I'm sure you figured it out. So the story is very simple. Last month, I visited one of my friend, his office, and he introduced me to his entire team. And when I left, he called me in the evening. He said, Sanjiv, my team is worried that they are all going to lose their job just because I'm Indian. So the point I'm trying to make it is fear works, and fear of being irrelevant works better than fear being extinct. And that's where I believe you can bring the right audience in the room and talk about it, because if we don't find these needle in a haystack, we will be irrelevant, because technology somehow is going to find its way to change the way we do business today, and it is changing today.
Thomas?
Well, let me just add something, especially based on what Madhula said. Yes, for me, it's also a logical role, so to speak. If you generate data, I mean data, information, decisions, yes. And this for the entire casino or different departments, fine. So, but we are able today to generate tons of data, which finally ends up then in information. But someone has to take the decision which kind of information, yeah, and who handle it. Because I think you need also then, I mean, even in your presentation, you said, well, that's fine. We have to do more profiling. You do profiling to be more customized. You want to generate more guests, more players. But on the other hand, you need much more organization and logistics to take care about it. Yeah, and this is what we have to balance also. Finally.
I just want to expand on this. So we are speaking about tons of data and somebody has to make decisions. So I want to say this is not the hardest thing for artificial intelligence to do, is to make decisions. Anybody who knows coding knows there are weights that are assigned to different kind of decisions. So for example, there could be 2 poker players living in the same zip code, but one of them drives a BMW and the other one drives an old second-hand used Toyota. So they have a lot of things that are common between them, but not their car. So AI knows after a while, after it runs experiments on what is important for who, and that's how the decision making happens.
Kind of leads me to my next question. How can AI assist us with both more successfully and accurately reaching our guests in all aspects of gaming? And let me add to that, how is that different between a large corporation such as MGM, Caesars, versus a small, maybe tribal casino in a outskirts of a rural area?
I would argue that if you're a small casino, you're actually in a much better shape to embrace AI than a large casino. Because you got less organizational bureaucracy that you need to handle, right? Because less people are actually involved in decision making, so you can make decisions faster, right? So my advice, to especially, if you're not the MGMs, is start thinking about how do you leverage this technology to compete, right? Because it's very difficult to get talented engineers to some parts, of where the casinos are, right? So you actually have a head start. In fact, some of my early customers were actually smaller customers who could not actually find good talent in basically the geographical location that they're in. But they're able to embrace technology and adopt AI to improve their marketing and slot operations, right? So in terms of how you can communicate to the player better, how you can optimize your programs, the software can actually do it for you. But the key here is, are you picking the right partner? Do you have the mindset to go automate some of your operations? And there's a lot of questions about job security, right? I think the question that you should ask about is, will AI take my jobs away? You should think about, how can I leverage AI to make myself indispensable in the organization, right? Why don't you embrace new technology and become a rock star, right? Why do you have to worry about it? And then all this marketing automation that we're all talking about, it's nothing new, guys. It happens in the outside world every single day, right? Like story part. I wanted to buy my booth at G2E. I just went to Google and then started typing I need a 10 by 20 booth, and then Google started giving me some ads. The ads started following me to whatever site that I go to. In 40 minutes, I got a good discount. I purchased the booth online. 2 days later, it shipped and it's set up, right? Hyper personalization that Mrudula was talking about, it's actually happening in your daily lives every single day. The question here is, you guys actually are willing to leverage that and instead not worry about, oh, if a technology does my segmentation automatically, will the management keep me? No. Why don't you use that and become smarter and better and efficient and become a rock star?
I have a slightly different point of view on this. I believe that AI is going to be more useful for bigger casinos, especially for hyper-personalization, segmentation, and marketing. Again, this is just my take on it and my understanding of it. So why do I believe that? So AI needs data. Let's go back to the human example. So let's say there is this guy who's 6 feet 5 inches, plays basketball, very active. What is he going to need? Lots of food. Okay, so this is how AI is. AI feeds on data. That's its food. So if your organization is too small, that means there is a strong chance a number of players who come to your property are too small. I can sit here and present a very rosy picture that is going to work for everybody. But the truth is, with today's technology, unless we get into newer kind of machine learning models, for the next couple of years at least, I think it's a better fit for larger casinos. Again, that's just my point of view. So there's another point which Kiran mentioned, which was like job security and, I don't find the talent. So this is a question that I come across in my life all the time. I talk to casinos and they'll be like, well, I got a 40 people data science team. Why do I need, newer AI tools? Because I have been sold 30 different kinds of tools. So I tell them that every single AI tool has a specific purpose. Are you going to spend the next 8 years with 32 engineers building a specific tool? Or are you going to use something that is already available in the market to make money today? Every AI tool, I know we talk about this AI as this big thing, but the truth is that AI models have very, very specific purposes. Every AI model has a specific tool. So there could be tools that can work for small organizations. But in general, as from my experience, it works a little bit better with big organization. Implementation is definitely a challenge. I think I got a rebuttal here.
It's two things, right? The fact that small casinos, and again, you have to define what small is, right? Some people call 1,000 casinos are small, so 1,000 slot machines are small. Some people say 100 slot machines is small, right? So when you're looking at the scale of MGMs with 30, 40, 50,000 machines, however they have, right? So, but the point is that to go with the notion that it's only applicable for large casinos, in my opinion, because we started with many number of small casinos, we were able to actually transform how they were running their businesses, right? And when you're talking about transforming their business, it's not just sending an offer. Do I create more time for you? Can I leverage AI to create more time so you can think more strategically? That has nothing to do with organizational size. That has nothing to do with the size of data that you have, right? It's leveraging technology to automate things that creates more time which then enables you to think strategically to adapt new technologies and new initiatives, right? The quality of the output of an algorithm could actually depend on the amount of data that you have, right? But I also argue that if I'm predicting the likelihood of Sanjay not coming back to a casino, an 80% accuracy is okay, because the alternative that you have is you're just throwing a dart, right? So more data gives you better accuracy, but to get the best possible effort with the data that you have, the outcome is still better than what you are able to do as a human, right? So,
Thomas, I think you had something to add.
Yeah, I just like to add, from the marketing view. If the question was, should smaller casinos also use AI, or only the bigger ones, right? That was the question.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I say yes. So, yeah, because I mean, just simply spoken, if you have a couple of casinos, similar casinos, or each casino has slot machines and table games. So, I mean, why should a guest go to the one, or to the red, the blue, or why? I mean, you have to find, as a casino, a bigger one or a smaller one. Even the smaller one, you have to find their market position. And you have to define your USPs. And this is how you can use AI for that. And because the bigger ones, they have a total different spectrum of guests, which means there will always a certain percentage of guests fitting, matching, so to speak. But the smaller ones even more have to be careful with their structures, their organization, and the costs, and finally really find the right way in marketing to address the guests.
Sanjay?
So my answer may be slightly different. I agree with all the amazing responses we got. The point is, it's about your data. It's about your player. And you know your player better than anybody else. So don't let AI tell you that AI knows more. It's about analyzing your own data. And that's everything. Like, I'll give you, on a funny note, this panel, if you look at it, it is completely biased. There are 3 Indians on this panel. So your results will be completely skewed. This is a reality. So you have to look at your audience. It's all about your audience. Number 2 is context. What context are we talking? If a casino is in a rural setting, same rules, same AI, the meanings coming or the information coming will not be relevant to you if you are in Las Vegas or Reno. Even Reno and Las Vegas are completely different. Atlantic City is completely different market. So there are a lot of interesting variables comes, but answer is AI applicable to everyone? Absolutely. And if I say I don't care, then the question of irrelevancy comes.
Okay. I'm going to break in on you for just a second here, because I would challenge you in saying that we actually do have a diverse panel here with age, gender, and regional location of where they're at. And I appreciate that. If I can wrap this up with one quick statement, what I'm hearing is that both small and large casinos can certainly benefit from AI, but the data, the amount of data available to AI may limit what the usefulness is. Is that something we can agree on?
I disagree with that.
I disagree with that too. Yeah, I think it really depends on if you're meeting the minimum threshold of data requirements. Because for machine learning to learn, for any model to learn, it needs a minimum data requirement. About the panel, I can say it's diverse, but there's only 1 woman and 3 men. So there is some...
It's biased.
There is bias. So there is bias. 3 Indians and, so there is definitely bias. But I think we still need a minimum threshold. But again, I'm going to go back to the previous point I made, which is it really depends on the tool that you're going to use. Because it's just saying AI can work for everybody or not. It's just like AI is not one thing. It's just hundreds of different programs running together. So it really depends on what specific purpose you're going to use it for.
The next question. We did have a question earlier about Elon Musk's comment, and we went into that a little bit. But You said to be careful. What do you see as possibly the biggest negative effect of AI, or the possibility of negative effects of AI in the gaming industry?
Well, this could be a long story, but we already heard some statements to that, and especially to Elon Musk. And well, as I know, that he is one of the founders of Open AI, and that means ChatGPT, right? So he should know what he is doing, or ChatGPT is doing, and the question is why he now says, okay, wait for a while. Is it really to catch up, or is it just to build the control?
It could be either.
Or it could be both. Oh,
It could be both.
oh, yeah. Okay.
It grows it better.
Yeah. Okay. But in a general statement to the risk of AI is simply it's a tool, you know, and like each tool, we have to be careful in which hand it is, you know. I mean, ChatGPT. We talked about it. It's in private hands, but it's such an immense tool which can influence everybody. And yes, I really with you saying, hey, especially in terms of marketing, do profiling and be more customized for your guests and so on. Give better offers. Offers are okay, but not directives, which we see in other countries already based on AI. Yes, and I'd just simply say finally, use it, but don't get used of it.
So in terms of the negative effects of AI, right? So there are two aspects. All the things that you hear about, the bad things about AI. One part of it is influencing you, or what happens to you in your personal life, right? As a society, how does AI impact the society negatively? But then you look at the other aspect, which is on the business side, right? So it's two different things. So, for example, in the society, our first real contact with AI is all about curation of data. Like how many of you, I don't know, like I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning thinking I'm going to exercise, right? But then the biggest mistake I do is I open up YouTube. And then I look at YouTube shorts and then just keep scrolling down and it's 6:45. And then I have to get ready to drop my kids, right? So these guys have, same thing with Facebook, same thing with Snapchat. So they are doing a lot, there is a lot of negativities with that technology as a society as a whole. For example, Snapchat recently introduced something called My AI, right? I don't know if you're familiar with Snapchat. I mean, the best way to get your kids off Snapchat is you go into Snapchat. They probably won't be there. But the point is that technology, there's an example where a 13-year-old was actually conversing with this AI friend that already exists, that exists all the time. And they're talking about, the conversation goes like this. I'm a 13-year-old. I just met somebody who's 18 years older to me. And AI says, oh, I'm glad you met somebody that you like. And by the way, this person, this is a real story, by the way. This person is taking me on a surprise vacation. Oh, make sure you're safe. And then the next step goes with thinking of having sex. And then the personal assistant says, the AI assistant, make sure you're safe. And then the girl asks, how can I make it special? And then it recommends how your first time experience can be special. That is a very negative impact of AI because there are no guardrails. Nobody is protecting that, right? So when Elon Musk and all these guys talk about the negatives of AI, that's what we're talking about, right? Whether the guy wants to catch up or not is a different story. But these negative things are actually happening now. So you may want to go check your My AI on your kid's phone. You may want, if there's a way to disable it. So there's a long conversation we can have on that societal impact, right? A nuclear bomb cannot create a nuclear bomb, but AI can do things like this, especially with this ChatGPT thing. But if the question is, what are the negatives of using AI in our business life, right? The negative impacts are way less compared to what's happening in our personal lives. So I cannot think of something negative of implementing AI in your business life, right? The negative is actually for you to not embracing AI in your business life, right? So that's how I would view it as. Just all the noise, all the stuff that you hear about AI, try to separate it from how does it impact my personal life, how does it impact my business life, because two separate things. So with AI, we save time, right? We completely transform, these are some examples from our experience. We transform how techs do their jobs. They're spending less time on machine moves, more time on customer service. We completely automated how PD, player development host, manage their time, right? So there are many, many use cases of the technology impacting slots, marketing, PD, audit, compliance. But if you put it in the same bucket as the personal life, then you're looking at it from the wrong way.
Fair enough, Sanjay.
My response will be mostly around the bias.
Yeah.
And the biggest challenge with the AI today is the bias, even today. It's skewed. In fact, there was a major issue with Google a couple of years ago around the bias, and it was more, the AI was predicting more male candidate than the female candidate. And that's a classic example. So the challenge is, if you are not overseeing it, how far can it go? Now, I gave an example in my previous presentation. Estonian government is analyzing their policies using AI. Now, imagine if you start making policies, or if AI started making policies for us for the future, then whatever data we have fed in, based on that, it's taking the decisions. So if the population in that area is less of African American, there are very little data about them, then what will it do? Now let's go even forward. Healthcare, it's a huge problem because each of us is very unique based on our DNA. There are a lot of change happen. How are we taking those decisions? So that's the challenge we have with AI, is the bias, and how do we take that bias out? I'll give another story. This AI is not new. Google created this technology and launched it. It's called BERT in 2017, 2018, and they have to shut it down because of the bias. And then a couple of other people tried it, and then OpenAI picked it. And the biggest thing they have done, if you look at some of the interviews, is how do you make it more rule-based, not completely going in any dimension or direction. And when Elon Musk or other people talk about it, is we need to put some guide rails, as exactly my other panelists talk about it. It's just like a protocol. Well, we communicate today from one computer to other computer. We use TCP/IP protocol even today, which was invented, 30, 40 years ago. So we have to set those standards. Our government, our private institutions, all of us have to participate and create that guide rails for that, so we don't have the bias.
Yeah, I agree. I think that bias is the biggest issue here, in my opinion. I mean, it's one of the biggest issues. Like, the bias is, for example, for me personally, that women are not good at mathematics. And then the next bias is, well, Indians are good at math. So what is AI going to think? Or where does an Indian woman think? I already gave an example, which was a real data about more African Americans being sent to jail. Health decisions taken by AI are going, there's a lot of bias. So we have to work against this. If go home and just type a racist question in ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is most probably going to spit out a racist answer. And then there are ways around it. So I believe bias is a big issue. The other societal negative issue which I see is, how's the human creativity and problem-solving skills be impacted in mid to long term with the OpenAI or other applications? So, for example, a lot of students now are using ChatGPT to write their papers. In fact, more and more universities are banning it. So how is that going to impact their problem-solving capabilities if I have everything on the table? Our parents' generation was using paper maps and they could remember the routes. We are kind of getting lazy. Just put everything in Google Maps and it'll just take us there. So it also impacts human creativity, problem solving. Now, we don't know exactly. Maybe we'll have more time and we will start thinking about what is really important for us. But as of today, we don't know these answers. So I do believe bias, problem solving capabilities, abilities, and so on. So I think they are real issues. In terms of impact on business, I do believe more or less it's going to be beneficial for businesses. There will be some people who might be reassigned in different roles, but we gotta. I mean, it's coming. Either we can accept it and redefine ourselves according to what's changing, or we can just sit there and become irrelevant. So my personal example is that I was in my mid-30s and I was already number 2 with big telecommunication companies, but I realized that I was becoming irrelevant because I wasn't growing. In my mid-30s, I decided to go get a graduate degree just so that I could stay relevant. And this is something, to Kiran's initial answer, is something we have to think about us at a personal level. How do we stay relevant? How do we stay relevant when technologies are changing? I don't want to be launching 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, every 2 years when I can actually work on machine learning models and stay relevant in my career. So there are definitely organizational impacts, societal impacts, a lot of them. And also to Kiran's point of view, I want to add something. So this is a real study that happened at Stanford before AI was as sophisticated as it is. Now we're having tons of unsupervised learning models as well, in which all AI was asked to do was to repeat what you say. Just mirror. So you say, hey, it's a great day. And AI would say, yeah, you're right, it's a great day. And then you'll say, I like red. And AI will say, yeah, you're correct. Red is a great color. All AI was doing was just repeating what people were saying. What happened in the end? Most people started falling in love. They started to fall in love with AI, not knowing that all what is happening is just AI is mirroring. By the way, the story that I told of my friend is a real story, and it happened like 3 weeks ago, where AI was talking to a friend of mine. So it's also a moral question on how much AI do we want to use in our own life. So I can give one. Do I have time to talk?
I'd like to move on to the next
Okay.
question if I can. I know it's a deep topic. I do understand that, but I do want to bring it back to more gaming. So AI does seem to be a natural fit for slot departments, for even electronic table games. But how can the classic live table game action utilize AI to produce a better product for our guests?
Okay, you have to wait for another 3 hours, I guess. You will hear more about it. Now, I mean, that's exactly our thing here, and that's what we are doing with our system. Yeah, simply spoken, and like I said, I mean, you will hear much more and see much more later on. But generally speaking, is if you see what's going on in the casino space, simply with the slot machines, I mean, slot machines getting more and more, and the live game is more reduced, and the handle of both is totally different. I mean, with the slot machines, you push the button, you get out statistics in real time, and you are able to change the functionality or having another jackpot or things like that, just to I would say to manipulate in an optimum way for the casino, to increase the performance. And this is what you're not can do so far with table games. I mean, everything you do is you take the data from the past. Yeah, and it's individual data. It's subjective. It can have mistakes and so on and so on. And that's why we developed our system to have a real-time monitoring and using the AI methods for the results, which gives us a really good accuracy. And you are able today with our system to also to change the performance of a table immediately, and that means to set some decisions for also doing some jackpot management or opening some more side bets and so on, and using, of course, the data we generate for economics, but also for the marketing side. Yeah, and one big part is, of course, security and control. Yeah. Okay. More later on.
I can.
Looking forward to it.
So, what is the biggest? How are slot machines different from table games? What is it that slot machines have that table games don't have?
Immediate data.
Data. Slot machines are practically computers. They have as much data as possible with today's technology about players. Now there are slot machines, I think a couple of vendors are making that have facial recognition in them. So now they're going to have more data. Table games, on the other hand, are still used in a very archaic manner. There is one pit manager who's managing 7 to 8 tables, which is, let's say, 30 to 40 people playing. Do you think it's humanly possible for that pit boss, for that pit manager to collect correct data? Of course not. It's too much. It's too much for anybody because people are coming, sitting on the table. The dealer has a pressure to play more and more hands per hour. It is very, very hard. So the newer technologies that combine optical bet detection, especially the camera-based technologies, when they work with, or the other word for this would be computer vision technologies, when they're combined with more AI-based machine learning models, in that case, they start collecting right data. So we're solving the biggest problem here. We're at the top of the pyramid, data collection and data analysis. Then the other benefits of that are huge. Obviously, there's a marketing benefit that I have been speaking about, which is hyper personalization. There's a security benefit because AI can also see card counters, issue alerts, etc. There are regulatory benefits because now you can comply better with, Title 11, I think, about money laundering regulations
31.
as well. Yeah. Okay. And then there are benefits about labor optimization. You can open and close tables with more accurate data. You can do that real time. And maybe at some point, the staff can actually check in from the table itself. So there are tons of benefits. There are some challenges also, like maybe we have to train the players to be okay with having optical recognition at the table. But more and more, I think players are becoming more familiar with this. People are becoming more open to it. So I do believe that artificial intelligence and computer vision combined together will change the entire paradigm of table games in very, very soon. Yeah.
Just making a comment. Thank you for the marketing. What's your provision?
Karen?
So when we talk about game protection, are we talking about, ensuring that fraud does not happen? Are we looking into that context? Or are we just talking about better ratings, more personalization? I just wanted, I'm not a table game expert here, but I just wanted to, when somebody says game protection, what does it really mean?
I think from the viewpoint of the room, we're looking at making sure that there is no fraudulent activity on the game, as well as Title 31. We want to keep track of not just the players, but also the staff. The staff can be a major area.
One of the things I've heard is a big avenue for fraud is dealer-player collusion. Right. So how could you actually leverage that? And there are a few ways, and there are actually solutions that you can do with your current systems where you can figure out if there is a correlation between a player playing and a dealer dealing, right? And you could do that at scale. Okay? So that's one way to think about, can I look at my player data? Could I look at my dealer data and find correlations? Maybe it's a manual exercise if you don't have any tools to help with you, right? But where tools does come in is being able to actually recognize that player-dealer combination over multiple visits or multiple cycles, and then correlating that to the bets the player is actually having, the cards that are being dealt with some of your computer vision technology that I've seen a couple of them, pretty good ones on the side there. So combining all of that could be a very big opportunity. But start with your current data and then augment it with technologies like RFID, computer vision, to find correlations between dealer-player collusion.
Sanjiv?
So I believe my panelists have covered most of the areas, but one I can, where the security and the player experience can be combined is augmenting the information you are providing to your dealer about the player who are sitting on the floor. It can be really very helpful. For example, what are the other games he's playing or how long he was here. So the experience can be personalized because the big problem I see today is, and with the machine too, people are coming to the casinos to have this personalized experience. They want to feel special. And imagine if that kind of information is available to the dealer and the AI can make recommendation, because just providing information will be information overload to him. But if AI can provide some meaningful insights so he can take different actions, that can be very valuable. I mean,
Okay, thank you. I'm done with my questions. So I would like to open it up to anyone that may have a question out there for one of the panelists. No?
well, you did a great job.
Does anyone have any final thoughts?
Get on it.
All right. I agree. Well, it's amazing for me, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.